Captain Noah Russell stood on the bridge of the UEF Harbinger, watching the stars through the main view screen. The Harbinger was humanity's newest and most powerful warship. Today was supposed to be a day of peace, not war. "Captain, we're approaching the Epsilon Tau system," said Lisa Martinez, the ship's navigation officer. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel. Noah nodded. "Slow to half speed. Let's not appear too eager." The Harbinger's engines hummed more quietly as the massive ship reduced its speed. This mission was important, the first official contact between humans and the Crimson Empire. After years of distant observations and intercepted communications, Earth had finally decided it was time to introduce themselves to their galactic neighbors. Ambassador Diane Powell stood beside the captain. She wore a formal blue uniform with Earth's emblem on the shoulder. "Captain, I hope you understand how crucial this meeting is. The future of Earth could depend on it." "I understand perfectly, Ambassador," Noah replied. "My crew is ready." Diane had selected a small team for the first contact meeting. Lieutenant Catherine Morris would join them as the linguistic and cultural specialist. She had spent years studying the limited samples of Crimson language they had gathered. Chief Science Officer Alan West completed the team, bringing his analytical mind and diplomatic experience. "No sign of Crimson vessels yet," reported Eric Baker from the tactical station. "But our sensors detect movement at the edge of the system." Noah frowned. "That's not where they were supposed to meet us." The communications panel lit up. Ben Carter, the communications specialist, turned to the captain with concern on his face. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission. It's not Crimson. The signature matches what we know of Nova Empire technology." "The Nova Empire?" Diane's eyes widened. "They shouldn't be anywhere near this region." "On screen," Noah ordered. The view screen flickered, showing a sleek, silvery vessel with curved wings approaching rapidly. More ships appeared behind it. "Captain, those are attack formations," Eric warned, his hand hovering over the weapons controls. Before Noah could respond, Lieutenant Morris shouted from her station. "Sir, 3 Crimson vessels have just appeared on the other side of the system. They're powering weapons." The bridge erupted into activity. "Shields up," Noah commanded. "Ambassador, we need to delay the meeting until we understand what's happening." But it was too late. A bright beam of energy shot from the lead Nova ship, barely missing the Harbinger but striking one of the approaching Crimson vessels. The Crimson ship returned fire immediately. "They're not aiming at us," Alan observed. "They're fighting each other." Noah made a quick decision. "Ambassador, we're sending a message to both sides. We had nothing to do with this conflict." Diane nodded and moved to the communications station to help Ben craft the message. But before they could send it, the lead Nova ship transmitted again. "Crimson aggressors, the humans have led you into our trap. Their deception ends today." "What?" Noah slammed his fist on the armrest. "They're blaming us." A Crimson transmission followed immediately. "Treacherous humans, you conspire with our enemies." The shooting intensified. Noah knew they had seconds to decide. "Ambassador, we need to show our peaceful intentions. Take your team in the diplomatic shuttle. Approach the Crimson vessels slowly." Diane hesitated but agreed. She, Catherine, Alan, and 2 security officers boarded the small shuttle and departed from the Harbinger. "Keep our weapons powered down," Noah instructed Eric. "We can't appear threatening." The bridge crew watched nervously as the shuttle moved toward the Crimson ships. Suddenly, a Nova vessel swooped down, firing not at the Crimson ships but at the shuttle's engines. "They're disabled," Samantha Hayes shouted from engineering. "The shuttle can't maneuver." Noah watched in horror as a Crimson tractor beam locked onto the crippled shuttle, pulling it toward their largest vessel. Only moments later, Lieutenant Morris and 1 security officer managed to escape in an emergency pod, racing back toward the Harbinger, while the Crimson ship captured the shuttle with Ambassador Powell still inside. "Get them back now," Noah ordered, "and prepare to jump out of the system. We've been set up, and we need to report this to Earth Command immediately." As the Harbinger rescued the escape pod and prepared to flee, Noah knew one thing for certain. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of something much worse. 3 days after the ambush, the Harbinger docked at Earth's Orbital Defense Station. Captain Noah Russell stood in the main conference room of Earth Command. The room was silent as he finished his report. Strategic Operations Director Gregory Mitchell leaned forward in his chair. His gray hair and stern face showed years of difficult decisions. "So you're telling me that Ambassador Powell and half our diplomatic team are now prisoners of the Crimson Empire, who believe we set them up?" "Yes, sir," Noah replied. "And the Nova Empire planned it all." Lieutenant Morris managed to recover communications data before we escaped. It shows the Nova ships were waiting there long before we arrived. Catherine Morris nodded. The linguist had dark circles under her eyes. She hadn't slept since their return. The Nova transmission was carefully worded to make the Crimson believe we betrayed them. It was a setup from the beginning. Director Mitchell stood and walked to the window. Earth looked peaceful from space, but now humanity was unwillingly involved in an alien conflict. "What do we know about Ambassador Powell's situation?" he asked. Alan West, the science officer, displayed images on the main screen. "Our last communication from her emergency beacon places her on a Crimson military vessel headed toward their inner territories. The signal stopped here." He pointed to a star system far from Earth. "We need to get her back," said Noah firmly. "And we need to expose the Nova Empire's deception." Director Mitchell turned back to face the room. "The Council wants to try diplomatic channels first." "With respect, sir, that won't work," Catherine said. "The Crimson won't believe anything we say now. And while we talk, the Nova Empire will continue their manipulation." The room fell silent again. Finally, Director Mitchell sighed. "Captain Russell, what capabilities does the Harbinger have that aren't in the official reports?" Noah exchanged glances with Chief Engineer Samantha Hayes. She nodded slightly. "Sir, the Harbinger carries several experimental systems that weren't included in public documentation," Noah admitted, "including technology that neither empire believes humans have developed." "Show me," Mitchell ordered. The group moved to a secure briefing room. Samantha Hayes activated a special terminal that displayed the Harbinger's true specifications. "The adaptive shield matrix can change its energy signature to match enemy attacks, making it nearly impenetrable after the first few hits," she explained. "And the quantum displacement drive allows us to appear and disappear from conventional detection systems." Tactical Officer Eric Baker stepped forward. "We also have advanced weapon systems that can disable enemy vessels without destroying them. Perfect for rescue operations." Mitchell studied the information carefully. This ship was meant for exploration and defense, not starting an interstellar war. "We didn't start this war," Noah pointed out, "but we might be the only ones who can end it. Ambassador Powell has spent years studying both empires. If anyone can find a peaceful solution, it's her. But first, we need to rescue her." After hours of discussion, Director Mitchell made his decision. "Captain Russell, officially, I'm ordering the Harbinger to remain docked for repairs and debriefing." Unofficially, he handed Noah a small data chip. "This contains all the intelligence we have on both empires. Find Ambassador Powell. Expose the truth. But understand that if you're caught, Earth will deny any knowledge of your mission." Noah took the chip. "Understood, sir." That night, the Harbinger's crew prepared in secret. Medical Officer Olivia Reed stocked extra supplies for treating unknown alien injuries. Communications Specialist Ben Carter modified their systems to better intercept and decode alien transmissions. "This is the list of Crimson outposts where intelligence suggests they might take high-value prisoners," Eric explained to Noah, showing a star map with several locations marked. At dawn, Noah addressed his crew. "What we're about to do is unauthorized and dangerous. But Ambassador Powell and our people are counting on us. The Harbinger was built to protect humanity. That's exactly what we're going to do. Hours later, Earth's defense systems reported the UEF Harbinger missing. The official report listed the ship as lost during training exercises. The hunt had begun. The Crimson Empire military base on Vega Proxima never saw the Harbinger coming. One moment, the stars shone peacefully above the planet. The next, a massive human warship appeared from nowhere. "Target their defense systems only," Captain Noah Russell ordered. "No casualties if we can avoid it." Eric Baker's fingers flew across the weapons console. "Firing now, sir." Precise beams of energy shot from the Harbinger, striking communication towers and weapon platforms. Alarms blared across the Crimson base as their systems went dark. "We have 30 minutes before their backup systems come online," Samantha Hayes reported from engineering, "and before reinforcements arrive." Noah nodded to Lieutenant Jack Freeman, who stood ready with a small team in combat gear. "Move fast, Lieutenant. Find what you can about Ambassador Powell's location." "Yes, sir." Jack and his 5-person team disappeared into the teleportation chamber. Moments later, they materialized inside the Crimson base's data center. Security Chief Valerie Grant took point, her weapon ready. "Clear," she whispered. The team moved silently through the shadowy corridors. They reached the main data hub quickly. Jack connected a small device to the alien computer system while Valerie kept watch. "Hurry," she urged. "Guards approaching from the south corridor." Jack's device translated the Crimson data files rapidly. "I've got something. Ambassador Powell was here, but they moved her 3 days ago. They're taking her to a place called..." He frowned at the translation. "The Citadel. It appears to be in the heart of Crimson space." The door slid open. 3 Crimson guards entered, their scaled skin reflecting the emergency lights. They spotted the humans immediately. "Intruders," one shouted, raising his weapon. Valerie moved with surprising speed. She disarmed the first guard with a quick strike, then flipped the second over her shoulder. The third fired, but she dodged the energy blast and knocked him unconscious with a powerful kick. "Let's go," she called to the others. "We have what we need." Back on the Harbinger, Jack reported to Captain Russell while the ship prepared to jump away. "The Citadel is their most secure facility, sir. Heavy defenses, elite guards. But we know where it is now." Noah studied the star map showing the Citadel's location. "Deep in Crimson territory. We'll need to fight our way through their defense network." "Captain," Ben Carter called from communications, "I'm picking up Crimson battle transmissions. A Commander Terex has been assigned to hunt us down. They're calling us the Ghost Ship because we disappeared from their sensors." Noah allowed himself a small smile. "Good. Let them chase ghosts." Over the next week, the Harbinger struck 4 more Crimson outposts across 3 star systems. Each time, they appeared suddenly, disabled the military facilities, and vanished before Crimson reinforcements arrived. They never attacked civilian areas and caused no deaths, only damaged Crimson military equipment. Commander Terex grew increasingly frustrated as he arrived at each site too late. How can one human ship cause so much damage? He roared at his officers. "Find them." On the Harbinger, Catherine Morris worked day and night to monitor Crimson communications. Late one evening, she burst onto the bridge. "Captain, I've intercepted an encrypted transmission. It's from Ambassador Powell." The crew gathered around as Ben decoded the message. Powell's face appeared on the screen, looking tired but determined. "If anyone from Earth receives this, I'm alive. The Crimson are taking me to their homeworld for questioning. But listen carefully. Both empires are being manipulated. I've discovered evidence that the Nova and Crimson have been pushed into conflict for centuries by an outside force. I don't have all the details yet, but whatever happens, Earth must know the truth." The message ended abruptly. The bridge was silent for a moment. "Well," Noah said finally, "it seems we have more than just a rescue mission now. Set course for the next Crimson outpost. We need to keep them distracted while we plan how to reach the Citadel." As the Harbinger vanished into the depths of space, stories of the human ghost ship spread throughout the Crimson Empire. One warship was creating fear and confusion across an entire alien civilization, and they were just getting started. High Chancellor Vex of the Nova Empire slammed his fist on the table. The emergency council chamber fell silent. You mean to tell me that one human ship has destroyed 6 Crimson bases in 2 weeks? His purple eyes narrowed as he stared at his military commanders. The same humans who barely have faster-than-light travel. Admiral Zorn shifted uncomfortably. The reports are confirmed, Chancellor. The humans call this ship the Harbinger. It appears and disappears at will. Our spies in the Crimson Empire say Commander Terex has been unable to track it. Chancellor Vex studied the holographic display showing the path of destruction across Crimson territory. What are they after? We believe they're trying to rescue their ambassador, Admiral Zorn replied. The one we arranged to be captured. A costly mistake, Vex muttered. The humans were supposed to be blamed and destroyed, not become a threat. On the bridge of the Harbinger, Captain Noah Russell made a bold decision. It's time to change targets, he announced to his officers. The Nova Empire has watched from the shadows long enough. Let's show them what the Harbinger can do. Catherine Morris looked up from her station. Captain, our intelligence shows a Nova shipyard near the border. They're building ships designed to look like Crimson vessels. Perfect. Noah smiled. Set course for the Nova shipyard. The Harbinger dropped out of quantum displacement near an asteroid field at the edge of Nova space. 3 massive shipyards floated among the asteroids, surrounded by Nova patrol ships. They've spotted us, Eric reported from Tactical. Nova defense grid is activating. Take us in, Noah ordered. Lisa, plot a course through the asteroid field. Navigation Officer Lisa Martinez gripped her controls tightly. That's a dense field, sir. Very dangerous. That's why they won't expect it. Noah replied. Full speed. The Harbinger surged forward, weaving between massive rocks as Nova fighters scrambled to pursue. Lisa's hands danced across her console, guiding the huge warship through gaps that seemed too small to fit. They're not following us into the field, Eric reported. They're trying to go around. Noah nodded. That gives us the time we need. Target the primary shipyard, disable their construction facilities, but leave the living quarters intact. The Harbinger emerged from the asteroid field directly above the largest shipyard. Before the Nova defenses could respond, the human warship fired precise beams that cut through the shipyard's main production facilities. Half-finished ships designed to look like Crimson vessels were exposed to space. Look at that, Samantha said, pointing to the screen. Those are exact replicas of Crimson warships. Proof the Nova Empire is creating false flag attacks. Noah turned to Ben. Record everything. We'll need this evidence later. As the Harbinger completed its attack, Nova reinforcements began to arrive. Time to leave, Noah ordered. But first, let's give them something to remember us by. The Harbinger fired one last shot, carving Earth's symbol into the side of the remaining shipyard structure. Then the ship vanished, leaving confusion and fear in its wake. 2 days later, the Harbinger reappeared in a different part of Nova space. This time, they captured a small transport vessel carrying a high-ranking Nova officer. His name is Commander Keith Johnson. Security Chief Valerie reported after searching the prisoner's quarters. He's a Nova intelligence agent who was undercover in the Crimson Empire for years. Noah entered the detention area where the Nova commander sat behind a force field. Keith Johnson looked surprisingly human, except for his purple eyes and slightly blue skin. Commander Johnson, Noah began, we have questions about Ambassador Powell and the Nova Empire's plans. The Nova officer stared defiantly. I'll tell you nothing. You don't need to talk, Noah replied calmly. Your biometric data and security clearances will give us everything we need to access Nova databases. Fear flashed across the commander's face. He hadn't considered that possibility. Back on the bridge, Alan West and Samantha Hayes used the captured data to access restricted Nova files. Captain, Alan called excitedly. I found something. The Nova Empire has offered a ceasefire to the Crimson. They want to form an alliance against Earth. Noah studied the information. They're scared of us. He turned to Ben. Prepare a transmission. It's time to tell both empires the truth about who's been manipulating them. The battle for the galaxy was about to enter a new phase. Captain Noah Russell stood before the holographic map of Crimson Prime, the heavily fortified homeworld of the Crimson Empire. His officers gathered around the table, faces serious as they studied the defenses. This is where they're keeping Ambassador Powell, Noah said, pointing to a large structure near the capital city. The Citadel has never been breached in its 500-year history. Until now, Eric added with determination. Catherine Morris frowned at the display. The orbital defenses alone would stop any direct attack. We can't fight our way through. Then we won't fight, Noah replied. We'll let them capture us. The room fell silent. Then everyone started talking at once. Capture us, Samantha exclaimed. Captain. Fats. The last thing they'd expect. Noah finished for her. The Harbinger has caused so much damage that the Crimson would do anything to get their hands on this ship. We'll use that desire to get inside their defenses. Slowly, a daring plan took shape. The Harbinger would allow itself to be captured and brought to Crimson Prime's main orbital dock for study. Meanwhile, a small stealth team led by Lieutenant Morris would enter the planet's atmosphere in a specially modified shuttle, using the planet's magnetic field to mask their approach. While they're distracted with the Harbinger, we'll break into the Citadel and rescue the Ambassador, Noah explained. Ben Carter raised his hand. I've been working on something that might help. He displayed a complex code on his screen. This virus can temporarily disable Crimson security systems. It would give the rescue team about 5 minutes before backup systems activate. 5 minutes to get in and out with the Ambassador, Valerie Grant said thoughtfully. It's possible, but risky. 2 days later, the Harbinger appeared in the Vedrick system, just one jump away from Crimson Prime. As expected, Commander Terex's battle group was waiting. Crimson vessels approaching, Eric reported. 5 warships, including Terex's flagship. Good, Noah nodded. Reduced power to shields, but keep emergency systems ready. Make it look like we're having engine problems. A Harbinger drifted slowly, appearing damaged as the Crimson ships surrounded it. They're hailing us, Ben said. Commander Terex's scaled face appeared on the view screen. His yellow eyes gleamed with triumph. Human vessel, you have caused enough damage. Surrender now. Noah stood tall. Our engines are damaged. We have no choice but to surrender. Terex seemed surprised by the easy victory, but quickly recovered. You will be brought to Crimson Prime to face justice for your attacks. We understand, Noah replied humbly. As the Crimson ships took the Harbinger and Tau, the small stealth shuttle detached silently from the underside of the human warship. Lieutenant Morris, Security Chief Grant, and 3 security officers piloted it away from the battle group, then curved around toward Crimson Prime. Stealth systems functioning perfectly, Catherine reported from the shuttle. We're on course for the southern continent, near the Citadel. 6 hours later, the Harbinger was locked in Crimson Prime's massive orbital dock. Engineers and soldiers swarmed the supposedly captured human vessel, eager to study its technology. Down on the planet, the rescue team landed in a remote area and quickly moved toward the capital. Using stolen Crimson identification codes from Commander Johnson's files, they passed through the outer security checkpoints. The Citadel is half a mile ahead, Valerie whispered as they crouched behind a building. Ben's virus is ready to transmit on my signal. Catherine checked her scanner. I'm detecting human life signs inside. Multiple humans, including one that matches Ambassador Powell's biometrics. She's alive, Valerie smiled. Let's go get her. As the team prepared to move, Catherine noticed something strange. Wait, there are other non-Crimson life forms in there too. Some read as Nova, but others. She frowned at her scanner. I don't recognize these patterns. We'll worry about that once we have the ambassador, Valerie decided. Transmitting the virus now. Throughout the Citadel, security screens went dark. Doors unlocked. Alarms fell silent. The rescue team had 5 minutes to complete their mission and escape with Ambassador Powell before the Crimson realized what was happening. The rescue team moved swiftly through the darkened corridors of the Citadel. Valerie led the way, weapon ready. The virus had worked perfectly. No alarms sounded, and the few guards they encountered stood confused by their malfunctioning equipment. 3 minutes left, Catherine whispered, checking her timer. Ambassador Powell should be 2 levels down. They found a service elevator and descended deeper into the Citadel. When the doors opened, they faced their first real resistance. 4 Crimson guards protecting a heavy security door. Valerie didn't hesitate. She fired 2 stun blasts, dropping the first guards before they could react. The other 2 raised their weapons, but the security officers with Catherine were faster. Within seconds, all 4 guards were unconscious. The ambassador is behind this door, Catherine said, scanning through the thick metal, along with 5 other humans, and something else. The team bypassed the lock and pushed the door open. Inside, they found Ambassador Powell and 4 other members of the original diplomatic team in cell-like rooms along one wall. On the other side, 3 purple-eyed Nova officials sat at monitors. Between them stood a tall, gray-skinned being unlike anything the humans had seen before. Lieutenant Morris. Ambassador Powell called out, standing up weakly. She looked thin and tired, but her eyes were alert. Before anyone could respond, the gray being touched something on its wrist. A shield of energy surrounded it and the Nova officials. "You're too late," it said in a strangely melodic voice. "The alliance is already forming." Valerie ignored the being and quickly freed the ambassador and the other prisoners while her team kept their weapons trained on the shield. "Can you walk?" Catherine asked Powell. "Yes," the ambassador nodded. "But we need to hurry." "That's an architect." She pointed to the gray being. "They've been manipulating both empires for centuries, and now they know about Earth." "Time's up," one of the security officers warned. "The virus will stop working any second." The team hurried back toward the elevator, supporting the weakened prisoners. Behind them, alarms began to sound as the Citadel's systems came back online. "We need to reach the shuttle," Valerie urged. "Move faster." Above the planet, in the orbital dock, Commander Terex supervised the inspection of the Harbinger. His engineers were frustrated by their inability to access the ship's main systems. "The human technology is strange," the chief engineer reported. "It seems to resist our scanning equipment." Suddenly, all the lights on the Harbinger came on. Inside the ship, Samantha Hayes smiled as she input the final emergency restart code. "Systems online, Captain," she reported. "Ready when you are." Noah nodded. "Start the countdown. Let's show them what this ship can really do." Throughout the Harbinger, hidden systems activated. The dock's crew watched in confusion as the seemingly dead ship hummed to life. Commander Terex realized the danger too late. "It's a trick. Seal the dock." On the planet's surface, the rescue team fought their way through Crimson security forces toward their hidden shuttle. Ambassador Powell stumbled, her strength failing. "I can't," she gasped. One of the security officers lifted her onto his back. "We're almost there, Ambassador." Crimson troops surrounded them from all sides. Valerie and her team formed a protective circle around the freed prisoners, returning fire with their stun weapons. "We're not going to make it," Catherine realized as more Crimson forces arrived. Suddenly, the sky lit up with explosions. The Harbinger had broken free from the orbital dock and was firing precision strikes around the capital, carefully avoiding civilian areas but destroying military positions. "Now's our chance," Valerie shouted. The team sprinted the final distance to their shuttle as the Crimson forces scattered under the orbital bombardment. Once safely inside, Catherine contacted the Harbinger. "We have the ambassador and 4 others. Preparing for emergency launch." "Understood," No replied, relief clear in his voice. We'll cover you. As the shuttle lifted off, Ambassador Powell took Catherine's hand. Lieutenant, before we leave, there's something you need to know. Both empires aren't just being manipulated by the architects. They're being controlled by them, and they've been doing it for thousands of years. Why? Catherine asked. That's what I need to tell everyone, Powell said grimly. The architects feed on conflict. They'd been harvesting energy from wars across the galaxy, and now they're targeting Earth. 1 week after the rescue from Crimson Prime, the Harbinger floated in neutral space. Inside the ship's conference room, an unlikely meeting took place. Captain Noah Russell sat across from Commander Terex of the Crimson Empire. You expect me to believe this? Terex asked, his scaled face showing doubt as he studied Ambassador Powell's evidence that both our empires have been manipulated for centuries. The proof is right in front of you. No, replied calmly. The architects have positioned themselves as advisors in both empires, always pushing for more conflict. Ambassador Powell, still recovering from her captivity, pointed to the star map. Look at the pattern of wars over the last 300 years. Every major battle happened near these energy collection points. The architects harvest the energy released during large-scale conflicts. Terex's yellow eyes narrowed as he saw the pattern. If this is true, then we have been nothing but cattle to them. Exactly, Powell nodded. And now they fear Earth because humans recognize their manipulation. They mean to turn both your empires against us before we can expose them. The Crimson Commander stood and paced the room. Finally, he faced No. What do you propose? An alliance, No said. Not permanent, but enough to stop the architects. We've located their main control center inside Nova space. Terex considered this. Even if I believe you, how could we possibly attack a facility in Nova territory? We would be destroyed before reaching it. Not if we work together. No smiled. The Harbinger can get us there undetected. And I have a feeling some Nova commanders might join us once they learn the truth. True to Noah's prediction, within days, 3 Nova battleships defected after receiving the evidence. Their commander, Admiral Zorn, had grown suspicious of the gray-skinned advisors who always seemed to push for war. Together, they formed a small but powerful fleet. The Harbinger led the way, using its quantum displacement drive to scout ahead. Behind it came Terex's battle cruiser and Zorn's Nova ships, maintaining radio silence. We're approaching the Architect Control Center. Lisa Martinez reported from the navigation station. It's hidden inside an asteroid in the Deneb system. Noah studied the tactical display. Heavy defenses. They must know we're coming. Catherine Morris worked with Admiral Zorn's linguists to decode the architect communications. Captain, I'm picking up strange energy readings from the facility. They're activating some kind of weapon. This is it, Noah told his crew and their allies. We need to disable that facility before they can use whatever weapon they're charging. The battle began suddenly and fiercely. Architect ships emerged from hidden docks around the asteroid. They fired weapons unlike anything the Alliance had seen before, beams that seemed to drain energy from whatever they touched. Evasive maneuvers. Noah ordered as the Harbinger narrowly avoided the strange weapon. The Allied fleet fought bravely, with Crimson and Nova ships protecting each other. Something unthinkable just weeks before. 3 ships were lost, but slowly they pushed toward the asteroid. We need to get inside, Ambassador Powell insisted. The control systems must be destroyed, not just damaged. Noah made a quick decision. Prepare a boarding team. We'll use the battle as cover to approach the asteroid. Samantha, can you find us a way in? Chief Engineer Hayes analyzed the asteroid's structure. There's a maintenance dock on the far side, lightly defended. A small team assembled. Noah, Valerie, Catherine, 3 security officers, Commander Terex, and Admiral Zorn. They boarded a stealth shuttle and slipped away from the main battle. Inside the Architect facility, they fought their way through strange corridors filled with humming technology. At the center, they found what they were looking for, a massive chamber where dozens of architects stood around a glowing orb. The control system, Powell had told them. Destroy it, and their power over both empires ends. Noah, Terex, and Zorn stood side by side, former enemies now united. As architect guards rushed toward them, the three commanders fired together at the orb. It cracked, then shattered in a blinding flash of light. Throughout both empires, the architect advisors suddenly lost their connection to the control center. Their manipulation ended as the truth was broadcast to every planet in both empires. The human warship that had wreaked havoc across two empires had ultimately brought something unexpected, the first real chance for peace in centuries.